G'day guys. Now, as you would have seen, Hyzon Motors has crashed down to $6 per share. So, the reason for this is very clear, right? So basically, Blue Orca Capital, which is a short-selling research firm, has published a paper, a report, which basically claims that Hyzon is a scam. It's an illegitimate company, and it's making all these false claims and projections. Some of which include an order for 500 trucks, which they claim is from a fake Chinese shell company that was created 3 days ago and does not exist. And that Hyzon's projections for a 30% margin on sales is pure fantasy, and that's above the industry average, etc. Now, naturally, you've seen the Hyzon share price crash from about $10 approximately all the way down to $6 on this news. So that would be a combination of panic selling. Obviously, investors want to get out because they're worried that it's going to be a repeat of Nikola, and also a lot of short sellers would have entered the market and started shorting this stock based on the opportunity presented by the short seller report. Now, does this present what I'm going to cover is, does this present a buying opportunity, or is Hyzon going to crash down even further? Now, what we see is that, this is about the lowest Hyzon's ever been. It went down to about $6 before and then bounced right back up to $11, $12, which is almost double. So its bounce was pretty significant, because there was something like a 90% return there. Now, basically, what happened was it went down, and then it got some analyst coverage, like Dan Ives from Wedbush put a $15 price target on it. Other analysts have covered it at $20 price targets, and some people believe it's not necessarily analysts, but some people believe it's going to be the next Tesla of hydrogen, and it's going to go up to $100 per share or higher. Basically, what happened with Nikola is a research firm, the Heidelberg research firm, published a short selling report on Nikola, and they basically burnt the stock. So Nikola went up like the Hindenburg, basically, which is quite ironic there. Especially because it's both the name of the research firm, the Hindenburg disaster with the Zeppelin, and that was obviously full of hydrogen, which went up in flames. So some irony there. However, the funny thing is, the Hindenburg research firm, their report had some accuracies in it, in that Nikola was basically rolling their truck down an ultra low gradient hill, and it wasn't powered by its engine. It wasn't powered by hydrogen at all. It was just basically rolling down a hill, and they made it look like it was driving. Basically, the CEO or chairman has been charged with fraud for misleading investors and that sort of thing. So that's pretty serious, and obviously Nikola crashed big time. Now, the Blue Orcas, they've probably seen what happened with Nikola, and they've been waiting for this opportunity to repeat with Hyzon Motors. They've got this 100 orders came in, and they published their report saying these orders are a scam and they're illegitimate, etc. They've been waiting for this opportunity to short Nikola and burn Nikola so that they could short it, right? And so that puts into the question: can you trust the Blue Orca's short report? I don't know. I don't know if these orders are legitimate or not, but certainly we can see that there are some legitimate MOUs signed. You've got hydrogen trucking companies which have signed orders. You've got hydrogen manufacturers which have signed orders. So that's very promising. It's strategic for a hydrogen manufacturer to use a hydrogen truck because they already have the fuel. So it would be a strategic solution. Obviously, hydrogen is green, So if a lot of these companies have ESG policies and they're worried about carbon emissions, so a hydrogen truck is it's a great solution for them. And you've got highly reputable companies. So you've got people like environmentalists like Andrew Forrest, Twiggy Forrest, with his with the major iron ore company Fortescue Metals Group (FMG), placing orders for some hydrogen powered buses from Hyzon. So there's certainly, I would say that there's no shortage of demand for hydrogen powered vehicles. Now, especially with Europe mandating the ban on the sales of ICE vehicles, so internal combustion engines, by 2030. If they're going to do this with trucks as well, diesel engine trucks, then naturally there's going to be an enormous market for either battery electric or hydrogen powered trucks. And Hyzon's one of the only players at the moment. Not to say that Toyota and that aren't going to also jump into the game, because they are. But Hyzon is going to try and establish market share. And if they do, obviously that market is enormous, because with the phase out of diesel vehicles, that presents a huge opportunity. Although on the other hand, you could just power a diesel vehicle with biodiesel and use green biodiesel or something along those lines, which is also completely renewable. So do you need hydrogen? Not necessarily, but is hydrogen the future? Probably. It's probably one of the solutions because it is lighter than batteries. So it is certainly viable for the long haul transport, especially if we can bring down the price of hydrogen. And that's certainly a lot of people working on bringing down the price of hydrogen. And especially if you do make hydrogen from coal and, you capture the carbon, you can make hydrogen very cheap. Or you've got Hyzon's process. So there's a lot of solutions to cheap hydrogen. And basically, is it possible, does Hyzon have a chance at success here? Well, I certainly think so. I can't understand why they would necessarily need to pump their stock by making false claims about orders. So I'm not really sure why they would be doing that, especially because what they're trying to do is relatively simple, in my opinion. Trucks are an existing technology and they're easy to make. Fuel cells are an existing technology, and all you have to do is really combine fuel cells and trucks. It's pretty straightforward to make a hydrogen truck. Obviously just the reason is no one's really invested in it so far. But there's no reason at all why it would be challenging to make a hydrogen powered truck. And their approach to it is low capex. They're just going to get existing manufacturers of trucks and, like Berkshire Hathaway's, so Warren Buffett, his manufacturing company, they're going to get them to make the trucks for them. So Hyzon's not going to build a factory. They're going to get existing manufacturers and to build the truck, and they're just going to sell the truck. So their strategy is great. It all just depends on their ability to execute the strategy and, what the pricing of the trucks turn out and that sort of thing, the economy of the operation and that sort of thing. So will they be a successful company? I have no idea. Who knows? But we should be able to find out within the next few months because that's when they're planning to start manufacturing and selling trucks. So we'll see by next year, if we'll get better guidance as to whether Hyzon's going to be a highly successful company. Are they going to be the next Tesla and shoot up to $100 per share? I certainly hope so. They're coming off a low market cap of $1.5 billion versus Tesla at over $700 billion valuation, and ridiculous non-profitable companies that are operating in China like NEO. No, nothing wrong with NEO, but I mean the valuation seems quite high in comparison to other stocks that are actually manufacturing much more vehicles like say Volkswagen. So NIO's share price is quite hyped up, right? Now, if Hyzon could start manufacturing and establish a market share in the growing revolutionary hydrogen trucking business, then they could go up like a rocket. Okay, and what you're seeing here is a lot of shorts probably piling into Hyzon. Now, if they're going to cover, you could see a short covering and a squeeze, and then that could even lead to a short squeeze like you saw with GameStop, right? So, when you've got a lot of shorts, and if Hyzon brings out some good news, like a legitimate order, or they actually end up being legitimately successful, you could see a squeeze on their stock and their share price could be propelled up. So you could see this short corrected bounce in the near term, I would hope, or they could just crash down further to $1, who knows. But hopefully a corrected bounce, they might come back down again. And then if they are successful long term, then they should go up at least back to the $17 mark that they achieved previously. I should certainly hope. So there's a lot of potential there with Hyzon. There's certainly risk, but there's certainly reward. So it's an interesting stock, and this is an interesting situation. And I'm certainly going to monitor it to see how it unfolds, because it's very interesting. Is it going to be like Nikola, or is it going to be like GameStop? Who can say? Very interesting. Thanks for watching, guys.